AITA, 24 female, for not lying about my profession? Hello everyone. This happened hours ago and my mind is boggled. Me, 24 female. My fiancé, 28 male, went to his best friend's, Alex, 30 male, and his now fiancée Nell, 27 female, engagement party today. Essentially at the engagement party, I was talking to an older lady who had spotted my iron ring because she was wearing one as well. A iron ring is presented to engineers in Canada once they graduate, and I was asking her a whole bunch of questions about her career, which field of engineering she's in, etc. Turns out she was Nell's future MIL's sister. Then Nell and Alex came over to say hi and I congratulated them both. Then Nell's MIL's sister and I continued our conversation, and then Nell spoke up and said, why are you lying about being an engineer? Don't you work at Victoria's Secret or something? And I was like, yeah, I used to work at Victoria's Secret when I was in uni, but now I work as a software engineer. And then Nell started laughing a bit and said, no you don't, stop lying. And everyone visibly got really awkward. My fiancé came over and greeted everyone, and Nell continued to berate me in front of everyone, saying that I was lying about my job, and how my fiancé shouldn't be enabling me to lie to everyone by saying that I'm an engineer. I then told her to stop and I stood my ground and said, I wouldn't ever lie about my job. I worked really hard to get where I am. And then Nell got extremely upset and started saying that I'm ruining her engagement party, I'm making everything about myself, and that someone like me cannot be in that field of work. My fiancé got upset and asked Alex if Nell was drunk or not, because what she was saying to me was out of line and that she has no right whatsoever to speak to me like that. Then me and him both left early, and I keep on getting calls and texts from her friends calling me ABTCH for being standoffish. My fiancé got a call from Alex asking us to not make this a big deal, and my fiancé told him we're not going to communicate with them any further until Nell apologizes to me. Not the asshole, but I think you already knew that, lol. She's gonna be a hell of a bridezilla. Not the asshole. She's jealous of you. Nell's future MIL's sister. Why didn't you just say Alex's aunt loudly crying? Not the asshole anyway, Nell's clearly jealous of you. Not the asshole. Nell sounds very insecure, and this is the kind of sexist bullshit women in engineering always have to put up with. Good on you for standing your ground. Not the asshole. And what an utterly ridiculous thing for her to get a bug up her ass about. She has just made herself look like a complete tool to her future in-laws. That's none of your doing. Oh my god. Don't tell me you're attractive and smart and accomplished. How rude of you to exist. Not the asshole, of course. Nell is though. As is anyone standing up for her. Am I the asshole for correcting my ex's new wife? I am 48, and was married to my ex, Jim, 49, for 20 years. We have 3 kids, 22 female, 20 male, 18 male, and have been divorced for 5 years. Both of us are now remarried, but we maintain a good relationship for our kids and because we do like each other. We divorced because Jim was a bad husband and not a great dad when we were together. Jim worked long hours to build a wonderful career while I had to neglect my career to be there for our children. He didn't truly understand until it was too late. He provided for us and still does provide for our kids. I am grateful for everything he did, but admit that I resented him during our marriage because I had to watch his career take off while mine, same career, stalled. For a little more context, I married a mutual friend, David, 50, of Jim and me. We were both divorced, no cheating was involved, and my ex has never had an issue with it because he knows that we didn't cheat. We both had a conversation with him at the start of the relationship and he was actually happy for us. 4 years ago Jim met Kara, 34. And they got married 2 years. It's her first marriage and they had their first baby last year. As I mentioned, Jim and I have a great relationship that includes monthly dinner with our children and just us. We have been doing this since we separated 6 years ago, so our children understand that we are still a family, and it allows our kids an opportunity to share things with their parents and siblings without anyone else. The issue came up on Easter and I'm not sure if I'm the asshole or justified. We were all at former MIL's house for the holiday and Kara was going on and on about what a wonderful husband and father Jim is to her and their daughter. I don't care because I know my ex has more time now than he did when our children were younger. I didn't really say anything until Kara looked directly at me and asked in front of the entire family why I ever gave Jim up. She also made a comment about me being too busy falling in love with my husband's best friend. I simply looked back at her and said, you know, Kara, He wasn't always a great husband and is only so wonderful now because I was willing to make a ton of sacrifices so he could have a successful career. But don't worry, you are very welcome for that." Almost everyone laughed, including Jim. But Kara was pissed and texted me later that night to tell me how hurt she was that I insulted her and her husband at Easter dinner and said I shouldn't have even been there. I ignored her text at first, but she called the next day to continue the conversation. The conversation eventually turned to me explaining that my marriage to Jim and her marriage are very different, and while I am happy that they are happy and have a great life, she doesn't get to rewrite history or comment on the type of husband Jim was to me. I reminded her that Jim and I have spent many years working through our crap, and while she may think she is funny, she just comes off as insecure. So, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. It was pretty audacious of her to assume the demise of your relationship with your ex was entirely on your shoulders, not to mention very insulting to accuse you of cheating. She needs to grow up and take responsibility of her words, especially as a mom. Not the asshole. She can dish it out but not take it. This was absolutely none of her business. She had no right to make this comment at that dinner nor to follow up with you with a text or call. She is 34 going on 12. Yes, she is insecure. You are not the asshole. She baited you in front of everyone with the comment and you replied with the truth. She is insecure because you have moved on and still want to have good shared experiences with family. Sounds like she was setting things up to change the way you and your ex co-parent. She probably has been trying to be the supportive wife, but hoped that with her being married to him you would fade into the sunset. This had to have been on her mind for a while, and she has his baby now. I mean, what she said was so out of line, and she said you shouldn't have been there. I don't know how she could ever come back from this without demanding you be cut out. Those statements are clear that she has always thought you and your now husband were the reason for the divorce. Be careful with her, but do not bend to her will. What happens next? Your kids? Is she going to be awful to them too? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You handled that with dignity. I would personally speak to Jim about this behavior. It's uncalled for and disruptive. Not the asshole. Your reply was kind and truthful, whereas she started the whole thing with blaming you for the marriage ending while also insinuating cheating had occurred. There's an asshole in the convo, but it ain't you. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my in-laws meet my newborn? Okay, so backstory: I've been with my partner for almost 6 years. We've just had our first baby together. By just I literally mean at 3 a.m. this morning. My partner is Greek. His whole family is Greek Orthodox and they follow all traditions and religion very closely. Anyway, for the past 5 years, I have joined them at church for their Orthodox traditions on Orthodox Easter, and I would like my child to continue in this tradition. But last night, we were at my in-laws for dinner before we headed to church, and I started to feel this agonizing pain and my waters had broken. I was 34 weeks, so a bit early, but labor was still a viable answer. My MIL told my partner's whole family that I was faking it to avoid church and that I just want her son to abandon his family and religion for him and our child to join my monstrosity of a religion. I'm atheist. Anyway, my Phil then refused to drive my partner and I to the hospital because we were making his wife upset. My partner's sister then told them to stop being ridiculous and making it all about them, and she then drove us. I felt bad she was missing church, so I asked her if she'd like to stay to be a part of the birth of her nephew. She stayed and was the biggest support for my partner and I anyway. This morning my Sil told me about all the abusive texts she was receiving from her parents and all the horrible things they were saying about me. I have always been close with in-laws, so this is very out for he blue and hard for me to take. My parents came in to meet our baby girl just before lunch today, and I have been receiving texts and calls from my in-laws asking to come meet her tonight, after they celebrate their Easter. I haven't replied yet, but they asked to come at 7 and it's getting closer to the time, and I'm wondering if I'd be an asshole for telling them no and setting a boundary. My partner has told me he will support whatever decision I make and that if I want to wait for them to meet her he understands after last night. Am I the asshole if I text back saying no and explaining why? Update. Okay, so sorry it's taken me a while, these past few hours have been exhausting. But, first of all, thank you for all your messages of support. They have made me confident in my first major decision as a mama. Also, it's so crazy how many of you are amazed that my husband is extremely supportive. Is this not a usual thing? Cold sweat smile. Secondly, my in-laws decided to text my parents, who we hadn't explained the situation to, and ask if it would be okay if they visited with them tomorrow, without asking us. Luckily, my mum knew better than to reply and she asked me first. My husband has since messaged them, the lovely sweetheart that he is, and told them that it was a fake pregnancy, with a fake labor, and now it's a fake baby, but we refuse to have fake people having fake relationships with her, bless his heart. His parents were very confused by the message, but we still have not received an apology. Right now, my heart is breaking, not for me, but for my little girl who won't know her family unless they apologize, but especially for my husband who has endured years of this behavior and tried to protect his sisters from it. I do hope that they decide to own their actions and apologize, as I'd love for them to be a part of this journey. But for now I am just focused on my beautiful little girl and my amazing husband. Thank you all X. First off, congratulations. Secondly, don't even bother to explain. No is a full sentence. Just say no and leave it at that. Turn your phone off and rest. They didn't even believe that you were having your baby right then, so they can wait some more. Edit. Sorry, totally forgot, but definitely 100% not the asshole. And thank you for all the upvotes and awards. Not the asshole. They should apologize first, at least. A 34 weeks delivery is a very serious thing. You definitely not the asshole, seriously. They did not apologize whatsoever for accusing you of faking it. What upsets me is the fact that you are pregnant and labor at the moment. You should have been the most important person. Anything could have gone wrong without proper medical care. Not to mention your discomfort. I'm glad you and your baby is safe. TBH, I am baffled at their overall response and their audacity to think they have the right to meet your baby. Without a smidge of apology or guilt. They wouldn't get near my family, if I had a say. My advice: do what's best for you and your family, set boundaries. The way they treated you is not okay and they need to apologize. They get away with this slight, it's like opening the door for worse. BTW, congratulations party popper confetti. How do you fake your water's breaking? Sneak a water bottle in your pants. Stick a pin in it when no one's looking and watch it flood? Wouldn't that be super obvious? Your in-laws have shown what they really think of you. You're a monster for having different religious beliefs than they do. Who's really the monster here? You or the people who denied a pregnant woman access to medical care? Honey, I would go no contact with them. Forever. It's clear they don't respect you, and how will they influence your relationship with your daughter? They will constantly be trying to undermine you. Not the asshole. I don't think I could stomach seeing them or continuing a relationship without a major reckoning and sincere apologies. What they did was disgusting. But you should do whatever you need to do to make your life as easy as possible at this time. You've just given birth and your needs and baby's needs come first. Not the asshole. You don't owe them any explanation. They know what they did. They are attempted to rug sweep. Pretend that nothing happened and they are expecting you to fold over and allow it. Honestly, since you're a new mom, probably should wait a month or two till you're 100% better. Or longer. Read Lemon Clot essay to get an idea of what you're in store for. Right now you need only supportive people around you. If Sil hadn't taken you, you may have given birth there. Am I the asshole for kicking my stepdad out of my house after he implied that I'm not attractive? My mom is currently married to the guy she cheated on my dad with. I don't have a strong opinion about that because my dad was emotionally abusive and I'm 99% sure cheating on her as well. My mom is a doctor, as if her current husband. She also had a couple affairs before him, and from her description of the hospital, everyone was fucking everyone. I decided early on that I would never marry a doctor. The cheating and the egos are out of control. Getting my fist job as a nurse only solidified that opinion. I think that my mom low-key hates that I'm a nurse. She wanted me to be a doctor like her and hints that I should date a doctor. We recently had a family dinner and my mom was joking and asking if any of the residents are doctors like me. I told her that she knows my rule. I would never date a doctor because most of them are egomaniacs, and from what I've seen, they are all cheaters. My mom got defensive about how my dad treated her like shit and don't label her a cheater. I said it isn't just her, but so many of them cheat I'd never date one. My stepdad loudly announced that it is a non-issue because he doubts any of the doctors are desperate to date me or cheat on their wives with me. I was shocked that he would say something that's sexist and gross. To be clear, I'd say that I am average. My mom is legit gorgeous, like turns heads, but I look more like my dad. I told him to get out of my house. My mom immediately started defending him, but I was serious and he did leave. I said he isn't welcome back because he insulted my looks and that is so low for a man to go there. He claims he was defending my mom and I was being needlessly judgy. Not the asshole. I guess he proved you right about doctors being egomaniacs. They both suck. You're not the asshole. Hub and I only have 2 rules in our house. 1. Don't let the cat out. 2. No shitcunts, Aussie for asshole people. Not the asshole, I'd have probably done the same. Your mom is a grown woman and can defend herself, but I'm confused as to how saying you're not attractive is defending her in the first place. What a loser. Not the asshole. Insult someone in their home, expect to get shown the door. Info. Are they surgeons? This sounds like surgeon behavior. Not the asshole. You answered your mom's questions honestly, getting defensive was her responsibility. You have a good job you're proud of and prefer, her judgment was wholly unnecessary. This man choosing to insult your looks as a response to his wife's choice of topics not playing out well didn't do anything to defend his wife, it simply changed the subject to his unacceptable behavior. It makes sense that he'd blame you for his choices. Your mother was doing the same a moment before by blaming your father for hers. Glad you demonstrated clear boundaries with him and your mom. Maybe now they'll both make better choices around you in the future.